Okay, if you need help with preparing for your reassessment, I'm going to go over the problems that are going to be on the reassessment to help you correct them. Now, there's different versions of the test, so you might have to follow the rules or the steps for your problem, okay? So number one is on the retest. And I'm going to circle the problems that will be on the retest. We're going to basically just give you a different point to maybe use, but the key to this is that you needed to know that that means to reflect over the y-axis. And there's a rule for that, and you can memorize this rule, or you can use your graph, okay? So the rule is basically, if I reflect over the y-axis, the y stays and the x changes to the opposite. So that's negative x comma y. Now, on this problem, they want us to reflect the coordinate v. Some of you might have a different coordinate, okay, a different order pair. But v has the coordinate -3, -1. So first you have to graph that, -3, -1. Here is the v, the pre-image. We are reflecting over the y-axis, and I'm just going to highlight that. That's this line. That means we need a mirror image. Now, so let's say you're not good with the rules. You know, the negative kind of confuses you. If it's a reflection, I should see a mirror image on both sides of this yellow vertical line, the y-axis. And if it's a mirror image, it has equal distance. So if I look, I count. To this point is 1, 2, 3 units. Well, it has to be the same amount of distance, same amount of units on the right side. So we go from the line of reflection, 1, 2, 3 units, and there is our v prime. V prime is at this coordinate is 3 comma -1, which basically is our rule when we had -3 comma -1. The rule says the x changes. Whatever the sign is, the x is, we're going to change it to the opposite. So that's a +3, and the y stays the same, -1. And that was our answer. So you're going to definitely see that. And like I said, I'm only gonna address the reassessment questions, okay? And I might talk about a couple more. So number 2, it's not going to be this question, but understanding rotation of 270, you will have to do that. And you need to memorize, if you have rotation of 270, you have to memorize the rule, and that is y comma -x. So I take the coordinate r. R is -1 comma 4. This rule basically says we're going to flip the order, switch the order, and change the x. So if I switch the order, that would be 4 comma -1, but then we got to change the x, so that change it to a positive. It was negative, we now change it to a positive. And then there is our answer. So you're definitely going to see 270, so please memorize that. Now the next question that would be on the reassessment, you won't have any translations. We did pretty good on these, especially on number 4. 5, I do want to address just real quick, because some of you made some minor errors. Vertical means up and down, okay? What coordinate goes up, what axis goes up and down? Your y. Stretch, scale factor of 2. So right now, I'm looking for, scale factor means that's the number I'm multiplying. I'm looking at answer choices that have some type of multiplying of 2, and these don't. And we can't have you miss something like that or pick that type of answer choice. Now, so here we have horizontal. Horizontal means left and right. What axis is that? That's the x. Stretch scale factor of 4. Okay? So the x is getting multiplied by 4. The y is getting multiplied by 2. Another way of writing that is 4x comma 2y. Okay, so don't pick things that don't match up. Okay, some of y'all are doing a real good job of getting identifying key information, but see if it matches with your answer choices. Now, I'm about to circle one because the next one that is on the reassessment, very good on this. Some of you pick S, but remember, not this one. Sorry, I just want to talk about this real quick. If it's F, that matches to T. They're in the same spot. Okay, but we did improvement on this on the district assessment, so we're good. Is number 8. So I'm circling number 8. Write down some notes, do your corrections. Because of that circle right there, open circle, that means we have to read or go right to left. Right to left. We're going this way. So this is what we're doing first. And then this is second. Okay? So they want us to find the composition transformation of the triangle. So you first need to get the points. You need to know what R, where is R on the graph? R is at 3, 3. And then you need to know where S is at the graph on the graph. S is at 4, 0, and then T is at 1, 2, 1, comma 2. So now the first thing we're doing is the translation. We're going to translate the rule 0, -4. Some of you might have had some confusion on that rule. 0, -4 means, well, we're going to basically, and I'm going to move these points down just so I have some more room. So just bear with me. R comes down, that comes down, that comes down. All right, this rule basically is saying we're going to x plus 0, y minus 4. We're not really doing anything at x, but for the y coordinates, we're going to subtract 4 every time. So my r prime ends up becoming 3, and 3 minus 4 is a -1. My s prime, 4, and 0 minus 4, -4. My t prime, 1, 2 minus 4, -2. So that's what we do first. What we do second is the reflection over the y-axis. What we do second is this rule. Well, if it's a reflection over the y-axis, that means the x is changing, so that's the -x comma y. So I'm going to do that to each point. Now this becomes r double prime because it's my new image. X is changing. Well, if it's positive 3, now becomes a -3. The y stays the same. My s double prime. X is changing. My x is positive 4, now becomes a -4. And then -4. The y stays the same. T double prime. -1, comma, -2. And so we were looking for that answer choice, and that was B. So you have your work. You need to study these steps, what to do first, what to do second. You're definitely going to see that one again. And we're going to see number 9 again, because we know you can do a better job at reading and problem solving, okay? We have a dilation here. It tells us that we're going from DEF, triangle DEF to triangle D prime, E prime, F prime. So here's our pre-image. This is our image. Or if you want to talk about it like this is the original, this is the new, okay? Now, we cannot have people picking, read, it says this triangle DEF and triangle D prime, E prime, EF prime, excuse me, are congruent. That means they're the same size if they're congruent. And you can physically see that that is not true. So we're not picking that. The scale factor used to create the triangle D prime, E prime, F prime is 2. Well, if the scale factor is greater than 1, then that means it's enlarged. Okay? Well, does it look like my original to my new is getting bigger? No, that doesn't work. The center of dilation is used to create at 8, -5. Let's say you're not too sure what that means. Okay, I don't know what that means. Go to the next one. We just talked about DEF was enlarged in size to create D prime, E prime, F prime. Did this get bigger? No, it did not. It's a reduction. This is reduced. Reduced to create D prime, E prime, and F prime. So check, this has to be the answer, but let's say you're not sure. Center dilation is where the lines between, let me get to my line, the line between um, our prime and our pre-image our image and our pre-image. So like if I go to F and I extend it, I know my line's off, but let me fix this. If I go here, make that line. Oh, it's way off. There we go. And I connect the other E and E prime. So E to E prime. There's that. Those lines intersect at that point. That is our answer, okay? And so that takes care of number 9. Now, the rest of our reassessment questions are going to be the open-ended, the back page. Okay, guys, the next one that you'll see on a reassessment, on the retest for this test, is number 11, okay? You will have a rotation. Again, make sure you remember your rules for 90, which is negative y comma x, because we could just change the rule. 180, negative x comma negative y. So you're going to have to memorize it. Make some flashcards. 270 is y comma negative x. So the first thing they asked was, what is the rule for 180? Negative x, negative y. This means we're just changing the sign to both x and y. Okay, we're just change sign to both. Okay, so they want us to apply the rule to find the image of p. Well, p is negative 8 comma, comma 6. So I'm changing the sign to both. So that means p prime, that's what the prime symbol is right there, is positive 8, negative 6. Okay, so you're definitely going to see that one again. You're also going to see number 12 again. So let's look at that one. The key to this is make sure you know how to reflect the point over the line x equals 1. Okay, reflecting the point P over the line x equals 1. If it's ever x equal a number, okay, it's always a horizontal line. Sorry, a vertical line. I wrote that down wrong. I apologize. A vertical line. So what you do is you go to where that number is on the x-axis, and then you draw your vertical line. And this becomes the line of reflection. Just like we did on the first one, okay? Instead of using the y-axis, we're now using this vertical line. So we're going to graph our point. P is at negative 2. We still go from the origin. Negative 2 to the left 2, down 1. There's our P. And I still count from my red line of reflection. 1, 2, 3 units. So we're going 3 units, 1, 2, to the right. And this is where our P prime would be. And they just wanted to know the order pair for that. So when I'm counting to the right, I can see that it's at 4, negative 1. Okay? So you're just going to have to memorize how to do this line. And if you can do number 1, and you can just remember how to do a vertical line where the x equals a number, then you just count. Okay? So you're definitely seeing that one. And your open-ended questions, all right here. So what we're testing or retesting for is that you remember what this symbol means. If it's an open circle, that means, okay, open circle. We did this earlier. What do? We read, okay, right to left. So I'm going from here to here. So they're asking, what do you do first? We're going to do the T, the translation, capital T is for translation, 4 comma 1. Oops, make that a 1. Apologize. And that means really that's going to be x plus 4. That's right here. X plus 4, x plus 1. That's what they wanted you to fill in to change that rule to coordinate notation. So they want to know what happens to P. Well, if P is at 4, 3, and then I do x plus 1. Here is my x. These are the x's. This is the y. So whatever the x is, I'm now going to say 4, and then I'm going to plus 4 to it. Whatever the y is, which is 3, I'm now going to plus 1 to that. So my image becomes 8, 4. Okay? What do we do second? We're doing the reflection. The reflection over the x-axis second. Now, that rule is y comma x. This is when we switch or flip x and y. So here are my x, here's my y. We're going to switch them. So this now becomes 4 comma 8. So please take some time to memorize this because we're just going to change the point number, give you two rules, okay? And the next, all your open-ended on the last page are on the retest. We're really going to focus on the coordinates, guys. I mean, I know you can graph, okay? If you still struggle with that, go to tutorials. If you need help even on the ones that did not go over, you need to go to tutorials. So I know the answers, the points varied. So I'm doing this version, but you need to know that scale factor of D 1/3, okay? That means D is a dilation, and this is the scale factor. Scale factor tells me what I'm going to multiply by. So I'm going to multiply every number by a third, or take a third of it. So basically for J, 6 comma 0, I'm taking a third of 6 and a third of 0. So a third of 6 would be 2 and 0, okay? And we're taking a third of a negative 3. That's negative 1 and 2. You're multiplying it by a third every time. Now, the calculator can do that for you, okay? So use your calculator if you're not too sure. So you should have a third of, this would be 1, negative 2, and then this one would be 0, negative 3. All right, and then now your last problem that's going to be open-ended on your retest. We're going to ask you to complete a rotation of some sort. I know this one says 90. Some of you might have a version that says 270. But if I'm going to rotate 90, memorize the rule, and that is negative y comma x. Remember for 180 as well, because you might get that. That's negative x comma negative y. And then for 270, that's y comma negative x. Well, we got 90 for this problem. And that means that we switch and you change the sign of y. So I look at my coordinates. I'm going to switch and change the sign of y. Here are my y's. Okay, we have x and y, x and y. We're switching. Y comes first, and we're changing the sign. So this becomes negative 4. And if it's already negative for the x, you keep it that way. This becomes negative 1, 2. Now, on t, it's already negative, but we're changing the sign. So that becomes positive 2, comma, negative 3. Okay? And you're going to graph it. I know you can do that, but we're going to focus that you can give us the correct point. So that takes care of your retest, some things, some reviewing, some explanation. Watch the video again if you need to. Study those questions and get your reassessment done. Thank you.